areas of ignorance. The more knowledge a person gets, the more he realizes what areas he is ignorant in. A person who thinks he knows everything has the most to learn. Ignorant people don't know they are ignorant. They don't know that they don't know. In fact, more than ignorance, the bigger problem is the illusion of knowledge, which can mislead a person. 18. Fatalistic attitude. A fatalistic attitude prevents people from accepting responsibility for their position in life. They attribute success and failure to luck. They resign themselves to their fate. They believe and accept the predestined future written in their horoscope or stars, that regardless of their effort, whatever has to happen will happen. Hence, they never put in 60 of 60. Any effort and complacency becomes a way of life. They wait for things to happen rather than make them happen. Success is a matter of luck, ask any failure. Weak-minded people fall easy prey to fortune tellers, horoscopes and self-proclaimed gods, men who are sometimes conmen. They become superstitious and ritualistic. Shallow people believe in luck. People with strength and determination believe in cause and effect. Some people consider a rabbit's foot lucky. But it wasn't lucky for the rabbit, was it? 61 of 61. Some people think they are just unlucky. This breeds a fatalistic attitude. People who get involved half-heartedly say things like, "Diamond suit, I will give it a try. Diamond suit, I will see if it works. Diamond suit, I will give it a shot. Diamond suit, I have nothing to lose. Diamond suit, I haven't put much into it anyway." These people guarantee failure because they get into a project with no dedication or determination. They lack courage, commitment and confidence. They are starting with complacence and call themselves unlucky. A man bought a racehorse and put him in a barn with a big sign, "The fastest horse in the world." The owner didn't exercise the horse nor train it to keep it in good shape. He entered the horse in a race and it came last. The owner quickly changed the sign to "The fastest world" for the horse. By inaction or not doing what should be done, people fail and they blame luck. Effort does it. Life without vision, courage and depth is simply a blind experience. Small, lazy, and weak minds always take the easiest way, the path of least resistance. Athletes train 15 years for 15 seconds of performance. Ask them if they got lucky. Ask an athlete how he feels after a good workout. He will tell you that he feels spent. If he doesn't feel that way, it means he hasn't worked out to his maximum ability. Losers think life is unfair. They think only of their bad breaks. They don't consider that the person who is prepared and playing well still got the same bad breaks but overcame them. That is the difference. His threshold for tolerating pain becomes higher because in the end he is not training so much for the game but for his character. Luck favors those who help themselves. A flood was threatening a small town and everyone was leaving for safety except one man who said, "God will save me. I have faith." As the water level rose, a jeep came to rescue him. The man refused, saying, "God will save me. I have faith." As the water level rose further, he went up to the second story, and a boat came to help him. Again he refused to go, belying, "God will save me. I have faith." The water kept rising and the man climbed onto the roof. A helicopter came to rescue him, but he said, "God will save me. I have faith." Well, finally he drowned. When he reached his maker, he angrily questioned, "I had complete faith in you. Why did you ignore my prayers and let me drown?" The Lord replied, "Who do you think sent you the jeep, the boat, and the helicopter?" The only way to overcome the fatalistic attitude is to accept responsibility and believe in the law of cause and effect rather than luck. It takes action, preparation and planning rather than waiting, wondering or wishing to accomplish anything in life. 62 of 62. Luck shines on the deserving. Alexander Graham Bell was desperately trying to invent a hearing aid for his partially deaf wife. He failed at inventing a hearing aid but in the process discovered the principles of the telephone. You wouldn't call someone like that lucky, would you? Good luck is when opportunity meets preparation. Without effort and preparation, lucky coincidences don't happen. Luck. He worked by day and toiled by night. He gave up play and some delight. Dry books he read, new things to learn. And forged ahead, success to earn. He plodded on with faith and pluck. And when he won, men called it luck. Anonymous. 19. Lack of purpose. If we read stories of people who overcame serious disabilities, it becomes evident that their burning desire to succeed was their driving force. They had a purpose in life. They wanted to prove to themselves that they could do it in spite of all odds, and they did. Desire is what made a paralytic Wilma Rudolph the fastest woman on the track at the 1960 Olympics, winning 3 gold medals. According to Glenn Cunningham, desire is what made a boy with burnt legs set the world record in the 1-mile run. A polio victim at the age of 5 started swimming to regain strength. It was because of her desire to succeed that she went on to become a world record holder at 3 events and won the gold at the 1956 Olympics at Melbourne. Her name is Shelley Munn. When people lack purpose and direction, they see no opportunity. If a person has the desire to accomplish something, the direction to know his objective, the dedication to stay focused, and the discipline required to put in the hard work, then other things come easy. But if you don't have them, it doesn't matter what else you have. Character is the foundation upon which all else is built. It endures. 20. Lack of courage. 63 of 63. Successful people are not looking for miracles or easy tasks. They seek courage and strength to overcome obstacles. They look at what is left rather than what is lost. Wishes don't come true. Beliefs and expectations supported by conviction do. Prayers are only answered when they are supported with courageous action. It is courage and character that is the deadly combination for success. This is the difference between the ordinary and the extraordinary. When our minds are filled with courage, we forget our fears and overcome obstacles. Courage is not absence of fear but the overcoming of fear. Character, justice and integrity, without courage is ineffective, whereas courage without character is oppression. A recipe for success. Success is like baking a cake. Unless you have just the right recipe, it is not going to work. The ingredients must be of the finest quality and in the right proportions. You can't overtake it or undercook it. Once you have the right recipe and with practice and the occasional disaster, it becomes a lot easier. What is the difference between persistence and obstinacy? The difference is that persistence represents a strong will and obstinacy represents a strong want. You have the recipe. To use it is your choice. A crash course for success. Diamond suit play to win and not to lose. Diamond suit learn from other people's mistakes. Diamond suit associate with people of high moral character. Diamond suit give more than you get. Diamond suit don't look for something for nothing. Diamond suit always think long term. Diamond suit evaluate your strengths and build on them. Diamond suit always keep the larger picture in mind when making a decision. Diamond suit never compromise your integrity. 64 of 64. Action plan. 1. Come up with 3 suggestions how you can do your job better, faster, and more effectively. A. B. C. 2. Write down 3 ways you can use the success principles in each area of your life. A. Work. B. Home. A. Socially. 3. List the areas in your life where lack of discipline is hurting you. Estimate its cost to you. 4. The next time you meet with adversity, stop and ask yourself these 2 questions. What can I learn from this challenge? How can I turn this lesson in life to my advantage? 5. Write your definition of success. 65 of 65. 6. Define your goals in life. Why are they important? 7. Think back. Have your goals changed in the last 10 years? If yes, why? Chapter 3. Motivation. Motivating yourself and others every day. 66 of 66. I believe in 2 premises. Most people are good people, but can do better. And most people already know what to do, so why aren't they doing it? What is missing is the spark, motivation. Some self-help books adopt the approach of teaching what to do. We take a different approach. We ask, why don't you do it? If you ask people on the street what should be done, they will give you all the correct answers. But ask them whether they are doing it and the answer will be no. What is lacking is motivation. The greatest motivation comes from a person's belief system. That means he needs to believe in what he does and accept responsibility. That is where motivation becomes important. When people accept responsibility for their behavior and actions, their attitude toward life becomes positive. They become more productive, personally and professionally. Their relationships improve both at home and at work. Life becomes more meaningful and fulfilled. After a person's basic physical needs are met, emotional needs become a bigger motivator. Every behavior comes out of the pain or gain principle. If the gain is greater than the pain, that is the motivator. If the pain is greater than the gain, then that is a deterrent. Gains can be tangible, such as monetary rewards, vacations, and gifts. They can be intangible, such as recognition, appreciation, sense of achievement, promotion, growth, responsibility, sense of fulfillment, self-worth, accomplishment, and belief. What is the difference between inspiration and motivation? I run seminars internationally and people often ask me if I can motivate others. My answer is no, I cannot. People motivate themselves. What I can do, however, is inspire them to motivate themselves. We can create a conducive environment which can be motivating. In order to inspire people to motivate themselves, we need to understand their needs and wants. There is a direct correlation between motivation and productivity. People who do just enough to get by so they don't get fired will never be valuable to any organization. 67 of 67. Inspiration is changing thinking. Motivation is changing action. Motivation is like fire, unless you keep adding fuel to it, it dies. Just like exercise and food don't last long, neither does motivation. However, if the source of motivation is belief in inner values, it becomes long-lasting. What is the greatest motivator? Is it money? Recognition? Improvement in our quality of life? Acceptance by those we love? All these can be motivating forces. Experience has shown that people will do a lot for money, more for a good leader, and do most for a belief. We see this happening every day all over the world. People will die for a belief. My objective is to share the fact that when we believe that we are responsible for our lives and our behavior, our outlook toward life changes for the better. Let's redefine motivation. The next logical question is, what is motivation? Motivation is something that encourages action or feeling. To motivate means to encourage and inspire. Motivation can also mean to turn on or ignite the feeling or action. Motivation is powerful. It can persuade, convince and propel you into action. In other words, motivation can be defined as motive for action. It is a force that can literally change your life. Why do we need to get motivated? Motivation is the driving force in our lives. It comes from a desire to succeed. Without success, there is little pride in life. No enjoyment or excitement at work and at home. Often life becomes like a lopsided wheel giving a bumpy ride. The greatest enemy of motivation is complacence. Complacence leads to frustration, and when people are frustrated, they give up because they cannot identify what is important. Motivation. How does it work? Once you understand the principle that motivates the motivator, you can proceed to achieve your goal and can motivate others too. Your internal motivation is your drive and attitude. It is contagious. Attitude is the key to getting the response you want from others. How does a person stay motivated and focused? One important tool that has been used by athletes for a long time is called autosuggestion. Autosuggestions are positive statements made in the present tense and repeated regularly. In other words, it is positive self-talk. Motivation is classified into two types, external and internal. External motivation. External motivation comes from outside, such as money, societal approval, fame, or fear. Examples of external motivation are fear of getting spanked by parents and fear of getting fired at work. A company wanted to set up a pension plan. In order for the plan to be installed, it needed 100% participation. Everyone signed up except John. The plan made sense and was in the best interest of everyone. John not signing was the only obstacle. John's supervisor and other co-workers had tried to persuade him without success. The owner of the company called John into his office and said, "John, here is a pen and these are the papers for you to sign to enroll into the pension plan. If you don't enroll, you are fired this minute." John signed right away. The owner asked John why he hadn't signed earlier. John replied, "No one explained the plan quite as clearly as you did." 68 of 68. Fear motivation. The advantages of fear motivation are: diamond suit, it gets the job done quickly. Diamond suit, it is instantaneous. Diamond suit, it prevents loss by meeting deadlines. Diamond suit, in the short run the person's performance may improve. Performance goes up. It is not uncommon to see the prey outsmarting the predator, because one is running for its food and the other for its life. We learn from history that the pyramids were built by slaves. They had to be constantly watched and reprimanded for non-performance. The disadvantages of fear motivation are: diamond suit, it is external, which means the motivation is there while the motivator is there. When the motivator goes, the motivation also goes. Diamond suit, it causes stress. Performance is limited to compliance. Diamond suit, in the long run, performance goes down. It destroys creativity. Diamond suit, they get used to the stick and then need a bigger stick. A customer asked an employee, "When did you start working here?" He replied, "Ever since they threatened to fire me." Incentive motivation. External motivation can also take the form of incentives, bonuses, commission, recognition, etc. What are the advantages of incentive motivation? The major advantage is that it can work very well as long as the incentive is strong enough. Think of a donkey with a carrot dangling in front and with a cart behind. Incentive motivation will only work if the donkey is hungry enough, the carrot is sweet enough and the load is light enough. From time to time, you have to let the donkey take a bite of the carrot. Otherwise, it is going to get discouraged. After the donkey takes a bite, its stomach is full, and you need to wait for the donkey to get hungry again before it will pull the cart. This is typically seen in our business environment. The moment salespeople meet their quota, they stop working. This is because their motivation is limited to meeting their quota. That is external, not internal. We are all motivated either positively or negatively. When I was in Toronto, I heard a story of two brothers. One was a drug addict and a drunk 69 of 69, who frequently beat up his family. The other one was a very successful businessman who was respected in society and had a wonderful family. Some people wanted to find out why two brothers from the same parents, brought up in the same environment, could be so different. The first one was asked, "How come you do what you do? You are a drug addict, a drunk, and you beat your family. What motivates you?" He said, "My father." They asked, "What about your father?" The reply was, "My father was a drug addict, a drunk, and he beat his family. What do you expect me to be? That is what I am." They went to the brother who was doing everything right and asked him the same question. "How come you are doing everything right? What is your source of motivation?" And guess what he said? "My father. When I was a little boy, I used to see my dad drunk and doing all the wrong things. I made up my mind that that is not what I wanted to be." Both were deriving their strength and motivation from the same source, but one was using it positively and the other negatively. Negative motivation brings the desire to take the easier way, which ends up being the tougher way. Different things motivate different people. Internal motivation comes from within, such as pride, a sense of achievement, responsibility, and belief. There was a young boy who used to come for regular practice but always played in the reserves and never made it to the soccer 11. While he was practicing, his father used to sit at the far end, waiting for him. The matches had started and for 4 days, he didn't show up for practice or the quarter or semi-finals. All of a sudden he showed up for the finals, went to the coach and said, "Coach, you have always kept me in the reserves and never let me play in the finals. But today, please let me play." The coach said, "Son, I'm sorry, I can't let you. There are better players than you, and besides, it is the finals, the reputation of the school is at stake, and I cannot take a chance." The boy pleaded, "Coach, I promise I will not let you down. I beg of you, please let me play." The coach had never seen the boy plead like this before. He said, "Okay, son, go, play. But remember, I am going against my better judgment and the reputation of the school is at stake. Don't let me down." The game started and the boy played like a house on fire. Every time he got the ball, he shot a goal. Needless to say, he was the best player and the star of the game. His team had a spectacular win. When the game finished, the coach went up to him and said, "Son, how could I have been so wrong in my life? I have never seen you play like this before. What happened? How did you play so well?" The boy replied, "Coach, my father is watching me today." The coach turned around and looked at the place where the boy's father used to sit. There was no one there. He said, "Son, your father used to sit there when you came for practice, but I don't see anyone there today." The boy replied, "Coach, there is something I never told you. My father was blind. Just 4 days ago, he died. Today is the first day he is watching me from above." Internal motivation 70 of 70. Internal motivation is the inner gratification, not for success or winning, but for the fulfillment that comes from having done it. It is a feeling of accomplishment, rather than just achieving a goal. Reaching an unworthy goal does not give the gratifying feeling. Internal motivation is lasting, because it comes from within and translates into self-motivation. Motivation needs to be identified and constantly strengthened to succeed. Keep your goals in front of you and read them morning and evening. The two most important motivating factors are recognition and responsibility. Recognition means being appreciated, being treated with respect and dignity, and feeling a sense of belonging. Responsibility gives a person a feeling of belonging and ownership. He then becomes part of the bigger picture. Lack of responsibility can become demotivating. Monetary rewards are temporary and short-lived. They are not gratifying in the long run. In contrast, seeing an idea being implemented can be emotionally gratifying by itself. People feel that they are not being treated like objects. They feel part of a worthwhile team. The reward of doing the right thing by itself is motivating. The 4 stages from motivation to demotivation. 1. Motivated ineffective. When is an employee most motivated in the cycle of employment? When he joins an organization. Why? Because he wants to prove that by hiring him, the employer made the right decision. He is motivated, but because he is new to the environment, he does not know what to do. So he is ineffective. This is the stage when the employee is most open-minded, receptive and easy to mold to the culture of the organization. Training and orientation become imperative. Unprofessional organizations have none or very poor orientation programs. The first day on the job, the supervisor shows the new employee his place of work and tells him what to do and leaves. He teaches all the bad along with the good that he is doing. The new employee quickly learns all the mistakes the supervisor is making because that is what he has been taught. The organization loses the opportunity to mold the individual to the culture of that organization. Professional organizations, on the other hand, take special care to induct people into their organizations. They explain to them, among other things, the following. Diamond suit the hierarchy, diamond suit expectations of each other, diamond suit do's and donuts, diamond suit parameters and guidelines, diamond suit what is acceptable and what is not, diamond suit what are the resources. How can one expect performance unless expectations are made clear up front? If induction and orientation are done well, many potential problems would not surface at all. 2. Motivated effective 71 of 71. This is the stage when the employee has learned what to do and does it with drive and energy. He has learned the trade and it reflects in his performance. Then he moves on to the next stage. 3. Demotivated effective. After some time the motivation level goes down and the employee starts learning the tricks of the trade. This is the stage when the employee is not motivated. He continues doing just enough so that the employer has no reason to fire him, but he is really not motivated. This stage is detrimental to growth. Most people in organizations fall into this third stage. A motivated professional learns the trade and leaves the tricks to cheats and crooks, but a demotivated employee starts sabotaging the company. His performance is marginal. He makes fun of the good performers. He rejects new ideas and spreads the negativity all around. Our objective is to bring them back to the second stage of motivated effective through training. An employee ought not to stay in the third stage too long. Because from here either they move back to the second stage, which is being motivated and effective, or they move into the fourth stage. 4. Demotivated ineffective. At this stage, the employer does not have much choice but to fire the employee, which may be the most appropriate thing to do anyway at this point. Remember, employers want the same thing as employees do. They want to succeed and improve business, and if employees help in this objective, then they make themselves valuable and achieve their own success. Demotivating factors. Some of the demotivators are Diamond suit unfair criticism, diamond suit negative criticism, diamond suit public humiliation, diamond suit rewarding the non-performer which can be demotivating for the performer, diamond suit failure or fear of failure, diamond suit success which leads to complacence, diamond suit lack of direction, diamond suit lack of measurable objectives, diamond suit low self-esteem, diamond suit lack of priorities, diamond suit negative self-talk, diamond suit office politics, diamond suit unfair treatment, diamond suit hypocrisy, diamond suit poor standards, diamond suit frequent change, 72 of 72. Diamond suit responsibility without authority. A satisfied person is not necessarily a motivated person. Some people are satisfied with very little. In this case, satisfaction may lead to complacence. Motivation comes from excitement, and excitement does not come unless there is full commitment. New methods of motivation will not work till the demotivating factors are removed. Many times, just removing the demotivating factors can spark motivation. Motivators. What we really want to accomplish is self-motivation, when people do things for their own reasons and not yours. That is lasting motivation. Remember, the greatest motivator is belief. We have to inculcate in ourselves the belief that we are responsible for our actions and behavior. When people accept responsibility, everything improves: quality, productivity, relationships, and teamwork. A few steps to motivate others. Diamond suit give recognition, diamond suit give respect, diamond suit make work interesting, diamond suit be a good listener, diamond suit throw a challenge, diamond suit help but don't do for others what they should do for themselves. People do things for their own reasons, not yours. This is illustrated by a story about Ralph Waldo Emerson. He and his son once were struggling to get a calf into the barn. Both father and son were exhausted, pulling and pushing. A little girl was passing by and she sweetly put her little finger into the calf's mouth and the calf lovingly followed her to the barn. Action plan. 1. Develop a sense of pride through training. 2. Reward performance. 3. Set well-defined, clear goals. 4. Set high expectations. 4. Set clear, measurable benchmarks. 73 of 73. 6. Evaluate the needs of others. 7. Make others part of your big picture. Set a good example by being a positive role model. Build the self-esteem of others. 74 of 74. Chapter 4. Self-esteem. Building a positive self-esteem and image, 75 of 75. A beggar was sitting at the train station with a bowl full of pencils. A young executive passed by and dropped $1 in the bowl. He then boarded the train. Before the doors closed, something came to his mind and he went back to the beggar, grabbed a bunch of pencils, and said, "They are priced right. After all, you are a business person and so am I," and he left. 6 months later, the executive attended a party. The beggar was also there in a suit and tie. The beggar recognized the executive, went up to him and said, "You probably don't recognize me, but I remember you." He then narrated the incident that happened 6 months before. The executive said, "Now that you have reminded me, I do recall that you were begging. What are you doing here in your suit and tie?" The beggar replied, "You probably don't know what you did for me that day. You were the first person in my life who gave me back my dignity. You grabbed the bunch of pencils and said, 'They are priced right.' After all, you are a business person and so am one. After you left, I thought to myself, what am I doing here? Why am I begging? I decided to do something constructive with my life. I packed my bag, started working, and here I am. I just want to thank you for giving me back my dignity." That incident changed my life. What changed in the beggar's life? What changed was that his self-esteem went up and so did his performance. This is the magic of self-esteem in our lives. Simply put, self-esteem is how we feel about ourselves. Our opinion of ourselves critically influences everything, from our performance at work, our relationships, and our role as a parent to our accomplishments in life. Self-esteem is a major component in determining success or failure. High self-esteem leads to a happy, gratifying and purposeful life. Unless you perceive yourself as worthwhile, you cannot have high self-esteem. All great world leaders and teachers throughout history have concluded that one must be internally driven in order to be a success. We transfer our unconscious self-appraisal to others and they respond to us accordingly. People with high self-esteem grow in conviction, competence and willingness to accept responsibility. They face life with optimism, have better relationships and fulfilling lives. They are motivated and ambitious. They are more sensitive. Their performance and risk-taking ability go up. They are open to new opportunities and challenges. They can give and receive criticism and compliments, tactfully, and with ease. Self-esteem is a feeling which comes from an awareness of what is good and having done it. Self-esteem is our self-concept. There is a story about a farmer who planted pumpkins on his land. For no reason, he put a small pumpkin, hanging by the vine, into a glass jar. At harvest time, he saw that the pumpkin had grown, equivalent only to the shape and size of the jar. Just as the pumpkin could not grow beyond the boundaries restricting it, human beings cannot perform beyond the boundaries of their self-concept, whatever it may be. Some advantages of high self-esteem. 76 of 76. There is a direct relationship between people's feelings and their productivity. High self-esteem is evident in respect for one's self, others, property, law, parents and one's country. The reverse is also true. 77 of 77. Self-esteem. Diamond suit builds strong conviction. Diamond suit creates willingness to accept responsibility. Diamond suit builds optimistic attitudes. Diamond suit leads to better relationships and fulfilling lives. Diamond suit makes a person more sensitive to others' needs and develop a caring attitude. Diamond suit makes a person self-motivated and ambitious. Diamond suit makes a person open to new opportunities and challenges. Diamond suit improves performance and increases risk-taking ability. Diamond suit helps a person give and receive both criticism and compliments tactfully and easily. How do we recognize poor self-esteem? What are the behavior patterns of a person with poor self-esteem? The following is a brief list, which is not all-inclusive but is indicative. Diamond suit. They are generally gossip mongers. Diamond suit. They have a critical nature. They criticize as if there is a contest going on and they have to win a prize. Diamond suit. They have high egos. They are arrogant and believe they know it all. People with low self-esteem are generally difficult to work with and for. They tear down others to get a feeling of superiority. Diamond suit. They are closed-minded and self-centered. Diamond suit. They constantly make excuses, always justifying failures. Diamond suit. They never accept responsibility, always blaming others. Diamond suit. They have a fatalistic attitude, no initiative and always waiting for things to happen. Diamond suit. They are jealous by nature. Diamond suit. They are unwilling to accept positive criticism. They become defensive. Diamond suit. They are bored and uncomfortable when alone. Diamond suit. Poor self-esteem leads to breakdown in decency. People with low self-esteem don't know where to draw the line, where decency stops and vulgarity starts. It is not unusual for people to tell jokes at social get-togethers, but with every drink, the jokes get dirtier and dirtier. Diamond suit. They don't have genuine friends because they are not genuine themselves. Diamond suit. They make promises they know they are not going to keep. A person with low self-esteem would promise the moon to make a sale. Unkept promises lead to loss of credibility. A person with high self-esteem would prefer loss of business than loss of credibility because they realize that one cannot put a price on one's credibility. Diamond suit their behavior is senseless and erratic. They swing from one end of the pendulum to another. They may be all sugar and honey today, but the same people may be out to cut your throat tomorrow. They lack balance. Diamond suit they alienate people and tend to be lonely. Diamond suit they are touchy in nature. This is called the fragile ego. Anytime something is said, a person with a fragile ego takes it personally and gets hurt. It leads to dejection. 78 of 78. What is the difference between being touchy and being sensitive? Touchiness is the cactus approach. You touch me and I will hurt you. Being sensitive is the positive approach, the caring approach. Many times the two are used interchangeably. People say be careful when talking 79 of 79. To so and so, he or she is very sensitive. What they are really saying is that the person is touchy, so be careful. Diamond suit they have negative expectations of themselves and others and are seldom disappointed. Diamond suit they lack confidence. 1. They constantly seek approval and validation from others. Seeking approval is different from seeking a second opinion, which really means consultation. 2. Bragging about themselves is also a sign of lack of confidence. 3. Submissive or timid behavior. These are people who constantly apologize for their existence. They are always putting themselves down, which is different from being humble. Humility comes from confidence, whereas putting yourself down comes from lack of it. A person who lacks confidence cannot be an effective leader. Others sense this lack of confidence, which results in a lack of respect. 4. Lack of assertiveness. People with low self-esteem are not willing to stand up for their belief. On the other hand, being unduly aggressive is also a sign of poor self-esteem. Being aggressive in situations that require compassion does not amount to assertiveness. 5. A lack of confidence results in conformist behavior. If everybody is doing it, then so should I. Every day we see people giving in to peer pressure, knowing full well what they are doing could be detrimental, yet they do it to be accepted. People with low self-esteem go along to get along. They are looking for outside validation because they lack confidence in themselves. 6. Keeping up with the Joneses. Pretense. When people try to keep up with the Joneses, they spend money they haven't earned, they buy things they don't need, and they try to impress people they don't like. 7. Nonconformist or attention-seeking behavior. In order to gain attention, people with poor self-esteem might do senseless things just to stand out and be noticed. They get a kick and a sense of importance from perversion. Some people choose to do wrong and be wrong just to be deferent and gain attention. Examples are people who brag excessively, the classroom clown, etc. Diamond suit they are indecisive and do not accept responsibility. Lack of courage and fear of criticism led to indecisive behavior. Diamond suit they rebel against authority. I make a distinction between rebelling out of the courage of one's convictions and rebelling because of poor self-esteem. All the great world leaders, such as Mahatma Gandhi, Martin Luther King and Abraham Lincoln, were rebels. They rebel against authority out of the courage of their convictions. A person with low self-esteem rebels against authority just because it is authority, even when the authority is right. Diamond suit they are antisocial and may be withdrawn. Diamond suit they lack a sense of direction and have an "I don't care" attitude which is reflected in their behavior. They have a hard time giving or receiving compliments. In giving, they feel they might be misconstrued, and in receiving they feel they are undeserving. Feeling unworthy is not humility. Diamond suit too much emphasis on material things. 80 of 80. People with poor self-esteem judge a person's worth by his possessions, not by who he is. They constantly look at what kind of car you are driving, what kind of home you live in, what kind of clothes and jewelry you wear. They forget that people make things, and not vice versa. People with poor self-esteem place more emphasis on net worth than self-worth. Their lives revolve around ads and fads. Designer labels are their status symbols. Take away their things and they will die of shame. They get into a rat race. The problem with the rat race is that even if you win, you are still a rat. Diamond suit lack of pride in themselves. They are shabbily dressed and uncouth. Diamond suit they are takers, not givers. Low self-esteem could lead to extremes of behavior. A person with high self-esteem could choose identical behavior for different reasons. He may be alone because he prefers solitude, whereas a person with low self-esteem prefers to be alone because he is uncomfortable in groups. Some characteristics of people with high self-esteem, low self-esteem. Talk about ideas, talk about people, caring attitude, critical attitude, humility, arrogance, respects authority, rebels against authority, courage of conviction, goes along to get along, confidence, confusion, concerned about character, concerned about reputation, assertive, aggressive, accepts responsibility, blames the whole world, self-interest, selfish, optimistic, fatalistic, understanding, greedy, willing to learn, know it all, sensitive, touchy, solitude, lonely, discuss, IU, believes in self-worth, believes in net worth, only, guided, misguided, disciplined, distorted, sense of freedom, internally driven, externally driven, respects others, looks down on others, enjoys decency, enjoys vulgarity, knows limit, everything goes, giver, taker. The objective of this list is to provide a basis for self-evaluation rather than produce guilt. It is not necessary to have all the traits. Some characteristics may be present to a greater 81 of 81 or lesser degree. So long as we are able to recognize them, we can make an effort to correct ourselves. They put on a mask. A young executive with poor self-esteem was promoted, but he couldn't reconcile himself to his new office and position. There was a knock at his door. To show how important and busy he was, he picked up the phone and then asked the visitor to come in. As the man waited for the executive kept talking on the phone, nodding and saying, "No problem, I can handle that." After a few minutes he hung up and asked the visitor what he could do for him. The man replied, "Sir, I am here to connect your phone." What is the message? Why pretend? What are we trying to prove? What do we want to accomplish? Why do we need to lie? Why look for feelings of false importance? All of this comes from insecurity and poor self-esteem. Why pretend? Our character can be judged by everything we do or don't do, like or don't like, such as diamond suit the kind of movies we enjoy. Diamond suit the kind of music we listen to. Diamond suit the kind of company we keep or avoid. Diamond suit the kind of jokes we tell or laugh at. Diamond suit the kind of books we read. Every action of ours gives us away anyway, so why pretend? I believe that if a person lives with conviction, sensitivity and cooperation, he can move others with his effort. That person becomes worthy of self-respect. Positive self-esteem, negative self-esteem. 1. Self-respect, self-put-down. 2. Self-confidence, self-doubt. 3. Self-worth, self-abuse. 4. Self-acceptance, self-denial. 5. Self-love, self-centeredness. 6. Self-knowledge, self-deceit. 7. Self-discipline, self-indulgence. Self-esteem does not mean having a big ego. Unless a person is at peace with himself, he cannot be at peace with others. Just as we cannot give to others what we don't have. Unless we possess the components of self-esteem, we cannot share it with others. We need to first get in touch with ourselves and put ourselves in order. Even in an aircraft, the safety instructions tell you to put on an oxygen mask on yourself first and then on your child. We are not talking about selfishness. 82 of 82. Self-esteem can be defined as the way we feel about ourselves. Self-image is the way we see ourselves. When we feel good, our productivity goes up. Causes of low self-esteem. We start forming our self-esteem, positive or negative, from the day we are born. We develop feelings about ourselves that are reinforced by others. Negative self-talk or negative auto-suggestions. This is when we say to ourselves, consciously or unconsciously, statements such as, "Diamond suit, I have a poor memory. Diamond suit, I'm not good at math. Diamond suit, I'm not an athlete. Diamond suit, I'm tired." Such statements only reinforce the negative and put ourselves down. Very soon our mind starts believing these statements and our behavior changes accordingly. They become self-fulfilling prophecies. Environment. Home. The greatest thing that a parent can give to his children are roots. The best part of a family tree is the roots. Noticing a little girl's courteous and polite behavior, the teacher asked, "Who taught you to be so courteous and polite?" The girl replied, "No one. It just runs in our family." Upbringing. Fellow citizens, why do you turn and scrap every stone to gather wealth and to take so little care of your children to whom one day, you must relinquish it all? In order for our children to turn out well, we need to spend twice the time and half the money. It is less painful to learn in youth than be ignorant as an adult. Parents with high self-esteem breed confidence and high self-esteem in their children by giving them positive concepts, beliefs, and values. The reverse is also true. It is a great heritage to have honest parents. Parents who participate in crooked business deals unfortunately set bad examples for their future generations. A strong role model or mentor could be a parent, relative or teacher who is held in high regard. During their formative years, children look up to adults in positions of influence. Even as adults, we look to our supervisors and managers as role models. Socrates 83 of 83. Little eyes upon you. There are little eyes upon you and they're watching night and day. There are little ears that quickly take in every word you say. There are little hands all eager to do anything you do. And a little boy who's dreaming of the day he'll be like you. You are the little fellow's idol, you're the wisest of the wise. In his little mind about you no suspicions ever rise. He believes in you devoutly, holds all that you say and do. He will say and do, in your way, when he's grown up like you. There's a wide-eyed little fellow who believes you're always right. And his eyes are always opened, and he watches day and night. You are setting an example every day in all you do, for the little boy who's waiting to grow up to be like you. Building confidence. A young couple used to leave their daughter at a daycare center every day before going to work. As they parted company, the parents and child kissed each other's hands and then put the kisses in their pockets. All during the day when the little girl got lonely, she would take out a kiss and put it on her cheek. This little routine made them feel together even though they were physically apart. What a wonderful thought. What makes a child a delinquent? Diamond suit teach him to put a price tag on everything and he will put his integrity for sale. 84 of 84. Diamond suit teach him never to take a stand and then he will fall for anything. From the Moral Compass, edited by William J. Biermet, Simon 8, Schuster, New York, 1995, pp. 52 to 24. 85 of 85. Diamond suit make him believe that winning is not everything. It is the only thing, and he will make every effort to win by hook or by crook. Diamond suit give a child everything he wants right from infancy, and he will grow up believing that the world owes him a living and everything will be handed to him on a platter. Diamond suit, when he picks up bad language, laugh at him. This will make him think he is cute. Diamond suit don't ever give him any moral or ethical values. Wait until he is 21 and let him determine his own. Diamond suit give him choices without direction. Never teach him that every choice has a consequence. Diamond suit never tell him he is wrong, he might develop a complex. This will condition him to believe that society is against him when he gets arrested for doing something wrong. Diamond suit always pick up things that he leaves lying around, books, shoes, clothes, etc. Do everything for him so that he will learn to push all responsibilities onto others. Diamond suit let him read, watch and hear anything he wants. Be careful what he feeds his body, but let his mind feed on garbage. Diamond suit, in order to be popular with his peers, he must go along to get along. Diamond suit quarrel frequently when he is present. This way he won't be surprised when things fall apart at home. Diamond suit give him as much money as he wants. Never teach him respect for or the value of money. Make sure he does not have things as tough as you did. Diamond suit provide instant gratification for all sensual desires such as food, drink, comfort. Deprivation can cause frustration. Diamond suit side with him against neighbors, teachers, etc. as they are prejudiced against him. Diamond suit, when he gets into real trouble, excuse yourself by saying, I tried my best but could never do anything with him. Diamond suit, don't put your foot down because you believe discipline takes away freedom. Diamond suit prefer remote control to parental control in order to teach independence. Diamond suit, what children get, they give to society. Children learn what they live. If a child lives with criticism, he learns to condemn. If a child lives with praise, he learns to appreciate. If a child lives with hostility, he learns to unite. If a child lives with tolerance, he learns to be patient. If a child lives with ridicule, he learns to be shy. If a child lives with encouragement, he learns confidence. If a child lives with shame, he learns to feel guilty. If a child lives with approval, he learns to like himself. If a child lives with fairness, he learns justice. If a child lives with security, he learns to have faith. If a child lives with acceptance and friendship, he learns to find love in the world. Education 86 of 86. Being ignorant is not shameful, but being unwilling to learn is. Role models can teach through example. Children who are taught the importance of integrity during their formative years generally don't lose it. It becomes a part of life, which is what we are looking for in any profession, whether in a contractor, attorney, accountant, politicians, police officer, or judge. Integrity is a lot stronger than honesty. In fact, it is the foundation of honesty. Youths are impressionable. When they see their mentors, such as parents, teachers, or political leaders, cheating with pride or bragging about petty dishonesty such as stealing a towel in a hotel or cutlery from the restaurants, the following happens. Diamond suit, they are disappointed. Diamond suit, they lose respect for their mentors. Diamond suit, constant exposure breeds acceptance in them. Poor role models. A schoolteacher asked a little boy what his father did for a living. The boy replied, I'm not sure, but I guess he makes pens, pencils, light bulbs, toilet rolls, etc. Because that is what he brings home every day in his lunchbox. Making unfair comparison. Fair comparisons are okay, but unfair comparisons make a person feel inferior. Comparison basically brings out the competitive spirit to outperform the next person. People with high self-esteem don't compete with others. Instead, they improve their own performance. They compete against themselves. They compare their performance against their capabilities. Failure or success, a ripple effect. There is a lot of truth in the statement, success breeds success and failure breeds failure. In sports, we often see that whenever the champion's morale is low, and it does get low at some point, the coach will never put him up against a good fighter because if he suffers one more defeat, his self-esteem will go even lower. To bring his self-confidence back, the coach pits him against a weak opponent, and that victory raises his self-esteem. A slightly stronger opponent is next, and that victory brings up the level of confidence, and on until the day comes when the champion is ready to face the ultimate challenge. With every success, self-confidence goes up and it is easier to succeed the next time. For this reason, any good leader, be it a parent, teacher or supervisor, would start a child off with easy tasks. With every successful completion, the child's level of confidence and self-esteem go up. Add to that positive strokes of encouragement, and this will start solidifying positive self-esteem. Our responsibility is to help break the chain of failure and put ourselves and our children into the chain of success. Confusing failing with failure. 87 of 87. When people fail in any particular event, most get so disheartened that they start looking at themselves as failures, not realizing that failing does not equal failure. I might have failed, but I am not a failure. I may be fooled, but I am not a fool. Unrealistic expectations of perfection by parents, teachers and supervisors. Suppose a child comes home with a report card with 5 A's and 1 B. Usually the first thing his parents will say is, "Why the B?" What do you think will go through the child's mind? Did he try for the B? Or should his parents congratulate the child for the B and accept a lower standard? Not at all. What the child is really looking for is acknowledgement and encouragement for the effort in getting the 5 A's. A parent, after acknowledging and praising the A's, can make clear his expectations of seeing all 6 A's and offer help if needed. If we lower our standards, the chances are pretty good that the performance next time would drop to those expectations. Similarly at work, an employee does 100 things right and 1 thing wrong. Guess what the boss picks on? Acknowledge the positive but don't lower your standards. Lack of discipline. What is discipline? Is it absolute freedom to do what a person wants? Is freedom regardless of consequences? Does it mean corrective action after a problem occurs or a wrong is done? Is it imposition? Is it abuse? Does it take away freedom? The answer is none of the above. Discipline does not mean that a person takes a belt and beats up kids. That is madness. Discipline is loving firmness. It is direction. It is prevention before a problem arises. It is harnessing and channeling energy for great performance. Discipline is not something you do to, but you do for those you care about. Discipline is an act of love. Sometimes you have to be unkind to be kind. Not all medicine is sweet, not all surgery is painless, but we have to take it. We need to lean from nature. We are all familiar with that big animal, the giraffe. A mama giraffe gives birth to a baby giraffe, standing. All of a sudden, the baby falls on a hard surface from the cushion of mama's womb, and sits on the ground. The first thing mama does is to get behind the baby and give him a hard kick. The baby gets up, but his legs are weak and wobbly and the baby falls down. Mama goes behind again and gives him one more kick. The baby gets up but sits down again. Mama keeps kicking till the baby gets on its feet and starts moving. Why? Because Mama knows that the only chance of survival for the baby in the jungle is to get on its feet. Otherwise it will be eaten up by wild cats and become dead meat. My question to you is this an act of love? You bet it is. Children brought up in a loving, disciplined environment end up respecting their parents more and become law-abiding citizens. The reverse is just as true. If discipline is practiced in every home, juvenile delinquency would be reduced by 95%. J. Edgar Hoover. Good parents are not afraid of momentary dislikes by children to enforce the subject. 88 of 88. Discipline gives freedom. Allowing a child to eat a box of chocolate could lead to sickness. At the same time, the discipline of eating 1 or 2 pieces a day can be an enjoyable experience for a longer time. Our instinct makes us do whatever we want regardless of the consequences. Freedom is not procured by a full enjoyment of what is desired but controlling the desire. Epictetus. There is a misconception that freedom means doing your own thing. One cannot always have what one desires. Many times it is not easy to comprehend the benefits of good values and discipline. It may even seem more profitable, enjoyable and convenient to do otherwise. All we need to do is see countless instances where lack of discipline has prevented people from succeeding. What we think is pulling us down is really taking us up. That is what discipline is all about. A boy was flying a kite with his father and asked him what kept the kite up. Dad replied, "The string." The boy said, "Dad, it is the string that is holding the kite down." The father asked his son to watch as he broke the string. Guess what happened to the kite? It came down. Isn't that true in life? Sometimes the very things that we think are holding us down are the things that are helping us fly. That is what discipline is all about. I want to be free. We hear this phrase all the time, I want to be free. If you take the train off the track, it is free, but where does it go? If everyone could make their own traffic laws and drive on any side of the road, would you call that freedom or chaos? What is missing is discipline. By observing the rule, we are actually gaining freedom, aren't we? It is loving firmness. I have asked this question to many participants in my seminars. If your child had a fever of 105 degf and did not want to go to the doctor, what would you do? Invariably they said they would get medical help even if the child resisted. Why? Because it is in the best interest of the child. Parenting is not a popularity contest. A judge, when sentencing a man for robbery, asked if he had anything to say. The man replied, "Yes, Your Honor. Please sentence my parents to jail also." The judge asked, "Why?" The prisoner answered, "When I was a little boy, I stole a pencil from school. My parents knew about it but never said a word. Then I stole a pen. They knowingly ignored it. I continued to steal many other things from the school and the neighborhood till it became an obsession. They knew about it, yet they never said a word. If anyone belongs in jail with me, they do." 89 of 89. He is right. In not discharging their responsibilities, his parents are also to blame, although it does not absolve him of his responsibility. Giving choices to children is important, but choices without direction result in disaster. Complete mental and physical preparation is the result of sacrifice and self-discipline. Parents spend an average of 15 minutes a week in meaningful dialogue with their children, Children who are left to glean whatever values they can from peers and TV. Journal of the American Family Association. Ask yourself, without discipline, diamond suit, can a captain run a ship effectively? Diamond suit, can an athlete win a game? Diamond suit, can a violinist play well at a concert? The answer is, of course not. Why then do we question today, in matters of personal conduct, or to achieve any standard, if discipline is necessary? It is absolutely necessary. Today the philosophy is, if it feels good, do it. I have heard parents innocently saying, I don't care what my kids do so long as it makes them happy. That is all that matters. I ask them, wouldn't you want to know what makes them happy? If beating people up on the streets and taking their things away are what make them happy, there is a word in the English language for them, it is called perversion. How and where we derive our happiness from is just as important as the happiness itself. It is a result of our values, discipline and responsibility. We keep hearing, do what you like. The reverse is just as true. Like what you do. Many times we need to do what ought to be done whether we like it or not. A mother comes home after a long day's work, takes care of the household chores, looks after the baby and goes to sleep exhausted. In the middle of the night the baby cries. Does mama feel like getting up? No, but she gets up anyway. Why? For 3 reasons. Diamond suit love, diamond suit duty, diamond suit responsibility. We cannot live our lives by emotions alone. We need to add discipline, no matter what age we are. Winning in life comes when we do not succumb to what we want to do but do what ought to be done. That requires discipline. Labeling and put downs by parents, teachers and supervisors. Have you heard some parents playfully or affectionately calling their kids dummy and stupid? Labels stick for life. When the kids grow up they will be sure to prove the parents right. Labels do not only stick for life but for generations. The caste system in India is a prime example of how labeling can hurt. Upper caste or lower caste, if it is not a label, what is it? 90 of 90. Common put downs parents say to their kids are: diamond suit, you are dumb. Diamond suit, you never do anything right. Diamond suit, you will never amount to anything. Teaching the right values. Many times, inadvertently and innocently, we end up teaching wrong values within our families and organizations. For example, we tell our children or staff to lie for us. Diamond suit, tell them I am not here. Diamond suit, the check is in the mail. We all look to our parents, teachers and supervisors to teach us integrity. And many times we are disappointed. Practicing these petty lies turns a person into a professional liar. When we teach others to lie for us, a day will come when they will lie to us too. For example, a secretary calls in sick when she really wants to go shopping. Maybe the boss gave her enough practice lying for him that she has become an expert in lying to him. Steps to building a positive self-esteem. Turn scars into stars. Read the life histories of people who have turned a negative into a positive, adversity into advantage, stumbling blocks into stepping stones. They refuse to let disappointment and failures pull them down. Some of the best music was composed by Beethoven. What was his handicap? He was deaf. Some of the best poetry written on nature was written by Milton. What was his handicap? He was blind. One of the greatest world leaders was US President Franklin D. Roosevelt. What was his handicap? He served from a wheelchair. The Wilma Rudolph story. Wilma Rudolph was born into a poor home in Tennessee. At age 4, she had double pneumonia with scarlet fever, a deadly combination which left her paralyzed with polio. She had to wear a brace and the doctor said she would never put her foot on the earth. But her mother encouraged her. She told Wilma that with God-given ability, persistence and faith she could do anything she wanted. Wilma said, "I want to be the fastest woman on the track on this earth." At the age of 9, against the advice of the doctors, she removed the brace and took the first step the doctors had said she never would. At the age of 13, she entered her first race and came way last. And then she entered her second, and third and fourth and came way last until a day came when she came in first. At the age of 15 she went to Tennessee State University where she met a coach by the name of Ed Temple. She told him, "I want to be the fastest woman on the track on this earth." Temple said, "With your spirit nobody can stop you and besides, I will help you." The day came when she was at the Olympics and at the Olympics you are matched with the best of the best. Wilma was matched against a woman named Jutta Heiner who had 91 of 91. Never been beaten. The first event was the 100-meter race. Wilma beat Jutta Heiner and won her first gold medal. The second event was the 200-meter race and Wilma beat Jutta a second time and won her second gold medal. The third event was the 400-meter relay and she was racing against Jutta one more time. In the relay, the fastest person always runs the last lap and they both anchored their teams. The first 3 people ran and changed the baton easily. When it came to Wilma's turn, she dropped the baton. But Wilma saw Jutta shoot up at the other end. She picked the baton, ran like a machine, beat Jutta a third time and won her third gold medal. It became history that a paralytic woman became the fastest woman on this earth at the 1960 Olympics. Adapted from Star Ledger, November 13, 1994. What a lesson to be learned from Wilma. It teaches us that successful people do it in spite of, not in absence of, problems. When we hear or read stories of people who have turned adversity into opportunity, doesn't it motivate us? If we regularly read biographies and autobiographies of such people, won't we stay motivated? Learn intelligent ignorance. Education teaches us what we can do and also teaches us what we cannot do. I'm looking for a lot of men with an infinite capacity for not knowing what cannot be done. Henry Ford. Henry Ford gave this world the V8 engine. He did not have much formal education. In fact, he did not go to school beyond the age of 14. He was intelligent enough to know there had to be a V8 engine, but he was ignorant and didn't know how to build it. So he asked all his highly qualified, educated people to build one. But they told him what could be done and what couldn't. According to them, a V8 was an impossibility. But Henry Ford insisted on having his V8. A few months later he asked his people if they had the V8 and they replied, "We know what can be done and we also know what cannot be done and V8 is an impossibility." This went on for many months and still Henry Ford said, "I want my V8." And shortly thereafter the same people produced his V8 engine. How come? They let their imagination run beyond academic limitation. Education teaches us what can be done and sometimes also teaches us false limitations. The bumblebee. We need to learn from nature. According to scientists, the bumblebee's body is too heavy and its wingspan too small. Aerodynamically, the bumblebee cannot fly. But the bumblebee doesn't know that and it keeps flying. 92 of 92. When you don't know your limitations, you go out and surprise yourself. In hindsight, you wonder if you had any limitations. The only limitations a person has are those that are self-imposed. Don't let education put limitations on you. Do something for others who cannot repay you in cash or kind. Dr. Carl Menninger, a world-renowned psychiatrist, was once asked, "What would you advise someone if you knew that person was going to have a nervous breakdown?" The audience expected Dr. Menninger to advise consulting a professional. But he didn't. He said, "I would advise that person to log home, go to the other side of town, find someone in need and help that person." By doing that we get out of our own way. A lot of times we get in our own way, don't we? Be a volunteer. It builds self-worth. Helping others as you would expect others to help you gives a feeling of gratification. It is a good feeling which represents high self-esteem. The process of giving without having expectations or getting anything in return raises one's self-esteem. A healthy personality has the need not only to get but also to give. Learn to give and receive compliments. Don't miss out on any opportunity to give sincere compliments. Remember, the key word is sincerity. When others give you a compliment, accept it graciously and gracefully with 2 words, "Thank you." That is a sign of humility. Accept responsibility. We need to accept responsibility for our behavior and our actions and insulate ourselves from excuses. Don't be like the student who failed just because he didn't like the teacher or the subject. Who is he hurting the most? We have to accept responsibility and stop blaming others. Then, and only then, will productivity and quality of life improve. Our privileges can be no greater than our obligations. The protection of our rights can endure no longer than the performance of our responsibilities. John F. Kennedy. Excuses make the problem worse than the problem itself. We owe responsibility. Diamond suit to self, diamond suit to family, diamond suit to work, diamond suit to society, diamond suit environment. We can add to the greenery by planting trees, stopping soil erosion, preserving natural beauty. 93 of 93. We cannot live as if we have another earth we can move to. On a daily basis, we need to do something that makes this world a better place to live. We are custodians for the future generations. If we do not behave responsibly, how can future generations forgive us? If the average life expectancy of a person is 75 years and if you are 40 years old, you have 365 days by 35 years to live. Ask yourself this question: what are you going to do with this time? When we accept or add responsibility, we make ourselves more valuable. Don't we? Self-discipline does not kill joy but builds it. You see people with talent and ability, and yet they are unsuccessful. They are frustrated and the same behavior pattern affects their business, their health, and their relationships with others. They are dissatisfied and blame it on luck without realizing that many problems are caused by lack of discipline. Set goals. Well-defined goals give a person a sense of direction, a feeling of accomplishment when he reaches his goals. More important than goals is a sense of purpose and vision. It gives meaning and fulfillment to life. What we get upon achieving our goals is a lot less important than what we become. It is the becoming which gives us a good feeling. That is what self-esteem is all about. In goal setting, we need to be realistic. Unrealistic goals remain unaccomplished, leading to poor self-esteem, whereas realistic goals are encouraging and build high self-esteem. Associate with people of high moral character. Associate yourself with people of good quality if you esteem your reputation, for it is better to be alone than to be in bad company. George Washington. Test of friendship. Negative influences come in the form of peer pressure. People say, "Aren't you my friend?" Remember, true friends never want to see their friends hurt. If I ever saw that a friend had had one drink too many, I would put my foot down and not let him drive. I would rather lose the friendship than lose a friend. It is common to see people doing wrong things to get accepted, saying, "It is cool," not realizing they will be left cold. What starts as peer pressure may be in reality a test of friendship. Where will they be when you are in trouble? How far will they go to help you? And the biggest question is, if they don't have the character today, how will they have the character tomorrow to help you? Associating with people of high moral character helps build self-esteem. Peer pressure. When the desire to belong to the herd becomes stronger than the desire to stand up for what is right, it is evident that what is lacking is courage and character. It is less controversial. Going along to get along is a safer way, keeps one's peers happy, and 194 of 94. Does not risk being laughed at. That is where people with high self-esteem draw the line. That is what separates the men from the boys. Examples. Diamond suit school kids conform because they do not want to be laughed at. Diamond suit, they don't give the answers because others will make fun of them. Diamond suit factory workers keep performance low to keep peers happy. Moderation. Many people say, in moderation, it is okay. I try a little and quit. The question is, in moderation, is it really okay? Diamond suit to cheat? Diamond suit to steal? Diamond suit to take drugs? Diamond suit to lie? Diamond suit to have illicit affairs? Some people frequently rationalize, "I can quit whenever I want." They don't realize that negative influences are more powerful than willpower. Become internally driven, not externally driven. One day, if someone gets up on the right side of the bed and calls me and says, "You are the greatest person on earth. You are doing a great job and I want you to know I am honored to call you a friend," I know he is sincere. How does it make me feel? Great. But the next day, he gets up on the wrong side of the bed, picks up the phone and says, "You rascal, you cheat, you crook. You are the biggest fraud in town." How does it make me feel? Terrible. So the first day when he says, "You are the greatest guy," I feel great, and the next day when he says, "You rascal," I feel terrible. Who is controlling my life? Obviously, he is. Is that the way I want to go through life? Not at all. That is being externally driven. I want to be internally driven. When he calls me and says I am the greatest guy, it is good to hear those words. But even if he doesn't say those words, in my own estimation, I am still a good human being. And the next day when he rips me apart, he can't really, because in my own estimation, I am still a good human being. When people make statements like, "You make me angry," the focus of control is external. But if I say I am angry or I choose to be angry, the focus of control is internal. No one can make you feel inferior without your permission. Eleanor Roosevelt. There is a story about an ancient Indian sage who was called ugly names by a passerby. The sage listened unperturbed till the man ran out of words. He asked the man, if an offering is not accepted, who does it belong to? The man replied, it belongs to the person who offered it. The sage said, I refuse to accept your offering, and walked away, leaving the man dazed. The sage was internally driven. 95 of 95. So long as we blame outside sources, our miseries will continue and we will feel helpless. Unless we accept responsibility for our feelings and behavior, we cannot change. The first step is to ask, diamond suit, why did I get upset? Diamond suit, why am I angry? Diamond suit, why am I depressed? Then we start getting the clues to overcome them. Happiness is a result of positive self-esteem. If you ask people what makes them happy, you will get all kinds of answer. Most of them would include material things, but that is not really true. Happiness comes from being and not having. One can have everything in life and yet not be happy. The reverse is also true. Happiness is internal. Happiness is like a butterfly. You run after it, it keeps flying away. If you stand still, it comes and sits on your shoulder. Develop a mindset that brings happiness. Bitterness is a sign of emotional failure. It paralyzes our capacity to do good. Set your own standards. Be honest to yourself. Compete against yourself. Do the following. Diamond suit, look for the positive in every person and in every situation. Diamond suit, resolve to be happy. Diamond suit, set your own standards judiciously. Diamond suit, develop an immunity to negative criticism. Diamond suit, learn to find pleasure in every little thing. Diamond suit, remember all times are not the same. Ups and downs are part of life. Diamond suit, make the best of every situation. Diamond suit, keep yourself constructively occupied. Diamond suit, help others less fortunate than yourself. Diamond suit, learn to get over things. Don't brood. Diamond suit, forgive yourself and others. Don't hold guilt or bear grudges. Give yourself positive auto-suggestions. Develop the habit of giving yourself positive self-talk. Auto-suggestions alter our belief system by influencing the subconscious mind. Our behavior reflects our belief system. Hence, auto-suggestions affect our behavior by influencing our belief system. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Examples. Diamond suit, I can handle it. Diamond suit, I can do it. Diamond suit, I am good at math. Diamond suit, I have a good memory. Our greatest strength can become our greatest weakness. 96 of 96. Any strength overextended becomes a weakness. For example, in sales, good speaking ability is a strength. It is not uncommon to see salespeople with good speaking ability talk themselves into a sale, then talk too much and talk themselves right out of the sale. Their strength got them into it. However, overextended, it became a weakness and they lost the sale. Listening is a strength. Overextended, however, it could mean that a person listens a lot but does not speak enough. It becomes a weakness. Our greatest weakness can become our greatest strength. Anger is a weakness. How can it be turned into a strength? One lady demonstrated by getting mad. MAD stands for Mothers Against Drunk Driving. This lady lost her child because of a drunk driver. She got so angry that she resolved not to tolerate this kind of thing in society. She organized people all over the United States to fight drunk driving. Today she and her association have become a significant force, with thousands of members, and are succeeding in their pursuit to change legislation in Congress. That is turning a negative emotion, like anger, into a strength by doing positive. Have patience. A lot of times we hear people saying that one exposure to a positive or a negative material does not have any impact. That is not true. The difference may not be visible, but something is happening. In China there is a bamboo tree which is planted, watered and fertilized for the first 4 years and nothing happens. There is no visible sign of growth. But sometime during the 5th year, the bamboo tree grows about 90 feet in 6 weeks. The question is, did the bamboo tree grow in 6 weeks or did it take 5 years to grow even though there was no visible sign it was taking root in the ground? When there was no visible sign, if someone had stopped watering and fertilizing it, would this have happened? Certainly not. The bamboo tree would have died. We need to learn from nature and the lesson is pretty clear. Have patience and faith and keep doing the right thing. Even though the results may not be visible, something is happening. Take inventory, make a list of all your strengths and weaknesses. Successful people realize their limitations but build on their strengths. Unless we know these things, how can we build on them? Focus on what you want to do and be, rather than what you don't. Strengths, weaknesses. The crux of self-esteem cannot be expressed better than the following words by Abraham Lincoln. 97 of 97. World, my son starts school today. World, take my child by the hand, he starts school today. It is all going to be strange and new to him for a while, and I wish you would sort of treat him gently. You see, up to now, he has been king of the roost. He has been the boss of the backyard. I have always been around to repair his wounds, and I have always been handy to soothe his feelings. But now things are going to be different. This morning he is going to walk down the front steps, wave his hand, and start on a great adventure that probably will include wars and tragedy and sorrow. To live in this world will require faith and love and courage. So, world, I wish you would sort of take him by his young hand and teach him the things he will have to know. Teach him but gently, if you can. He will have to learn, I know, that all people are not just that all men and women are not true. Teach him that for every scoundrel, there is a hero. That for every enemy, there is a friend. Let him learn early that the bullies are the easiest people to lick. Teach him the wonder of books. Give him quiet time to ponder the eternal mystery of birds in the sky, bees in the sun, and flowers on a green hill. Teach him that it is far more honorable to fail than to cheat. Teach him to have faith in his own ideas, even if everyone tells him they are wrong. Try to give my son the strength not to follow the crowd when everyone else is getting on the bandwagon. Teach him to listen to others, but to filter all he hears on a screen of truth and to take only the good that comes through. Teach him never to put a price tag on his heart and soul. Teach him to close his ears on the howling mob and to stand and fight if he thinks he is right. Teach him gently, world, but do not coddle him, because only the test of fire makes fine steel. This is a big order, world, but see what you can do. He is such a nice son. Abraham Lincoln.